Hey everybody, I'm Craig Silliphant and
I'm Mitch Oliver.
we're from the Feedback Society, and today we're going to talk about our first concerts, the first real concerts we went to, when we were young, I guess. And I mean, not counting stuff like I saw like Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and stuff that my parents took me to when I was a kid, but this was the first concert I actually went to by myself. And we'll get to Mitch's in a minute here, but I don't know what Mitch's is, and apparently it's like quite embarrassing.
It's become public knowledge this year through a series of different podcasts. There's a music podcast, So Be It, with a friend of ours hosts.
Yeah, Jeff Thiessen, yeah.
Jeff Thiessen and Johnny Pander. And I haven't been open about it until this year, so now I'm putting it on YouTube as well.
All right, well, there you go. So my first concert was in 1987, 88, I would guess. The album came out in 1987, but it was In Excess. So obviously on their like massively huge Kick tour, and you can pretty much like disregard the rest of their catalog. There's a couple of good songs here or there, but Kick itself is an album that I actually think really holds up to this day. It doesn't, I mean, it obviously sounds a little bit dated, but it's not as dated as a lot of the great 80s songs that are out. So. But I was a huge In Excess fan. I worship Michael Hutchence. I always wished I had his beautiful long flowing hair. I still wish I had that today. So I saw In Excess in Regina at the Agrodome, Steel Pulse opening up, which was kind of neat too. And I went to this concert and I got right up to the front row, and I was a really small little kid, but I was short obviously, and the security guard saw me pressed up against a thing and thought I was in danger or something, so he lifted me out and then sent me backstage to, and there's not a great story how I met somebody here. I went backstage to the St. John's ambulance thing, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I have no idea why I'm here." And I'd met some girl at the concert too. I was like in grade 7, yeah. You know what I mean? Grade 7 or 8, whatever it was. And I only knew that, I knew what her name was, but I didn't get a phone number or anything. So I spent the next day calling. I think her name was her last name was Anderson or something. And I spent the next day calling every Anderson in the Regina phone book trying to find her, and never did. But that's okay, because I grew up and I have a life of my own now. So, yeah. But anyway, it was an amazing concert, and I'm not ashamed to say that was my first concert. I think that's pretty cool. But
that is cool.
But now I definitely want to hear yours.
Do you want to know what my first concert was, or what I've been telling people is my first concert?
Tell me what you've been telling people your first concert was.
I've been telling people, because it was my second concert, was Alice Cooper.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool.
My dad took me to Alice Cooper, and my dad has this famous story about how he skipped his high school graduation to drive to Vancouver to see Alice Cooper. So he's seen him dozens of times. And I still love Alice Cooper till this day. I've seen him multiple times since then. But that would have been grade 6 then when that came out, or when I went to that show.
Do you know that I interviewed Alice Cooper?
No, I did not.
I did, yeah. He was a super nice guy. He was very rehearsed in his answers to everything. Yeah. You could tell he's done this a million times, and I had 15 minutes with him or something. So, any question I could ask him, and I did research and dug deep, but any question he had a pat answer for. But he was super nice.
Yeah, though. I've heard he's actually, if we have time, I'm going to tell a quick story. Co-host of my podcast, Diego, he worked for HMB for years, and he was helping this old man who wanted a bunch of martial arts movies. He had a real passion for martial arts movies, so he had this big man with him who was standing beside him the whole time. He's it's kind of weird, but he helped him pick out a whole bunch of martial arts movies, because that's one of my friend's niches. And when it came down to when he was checking him out, one of his coworkers "Do you know who that was?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "That was Alice Cooper." He's like, "Oh my god!" Yeah.
So then what? So what was the what's the big embarrassment? The official online coming out of the concert closet for Mitch.
My first concert was when I was 8 years old. I begged for this. I begged for tickets to my parents. I said, "I need to see this." It was Britney Spears.
I thought you were going to say New Kids on the Block,
no,
but I guess you're a lot younger than me, so yeah.
Yeah, that's right. This would have been in 1998.
And so was that, where was that?
At Sask Place.
In Saskatoon, so.
Yeah, and in Saskatoon, and we were, my dad had to go with me, and I just know I have two older sisters, so I love knowing how my dad thought that he was he dodged a bullet with his two daughters. They don't want to go to any of these shitty concerts, but then he's got to take his son to Britney Spears. And I tell all my friends at school, I'm just "Oh, she's so hot, yeah." And I was 8, I didn't know what that meant. But yeah, he took me to Britney Spears, and we were in nosebleeds, and we had to have binoculars to even be able to see her lip sync.
Right.
But I remember being like, this kind of sucks.
This is really so you
I
walked
did-
out not
I
having
didn't-
enjoyed it?
But I walked out with a poster and a CD that I made my dad buy for me. And I went home, and my sister was having a sleepover with her friends, and I walked in, and they ridiculed me for having this, and they basically were dead set on fixing me. And from that day on, that was a monumental moment in my life, as my sister introduced me to music. Like, she basically said that if I give her that poster and the CD, that she'll give me 10 CDs. And in those CDs was like Slipknot, self-titled, I think it was Nirvana, Nevermind, Matthew Good, Beautiful Midnight, like stuff like that was cool at the time.
Right.
And I still love all three of those bands, but yeah, it was crazy for me that opened up my world of music, was going to see Britney Spears.
And then your dad was like, "Oh man, we got to get tickets for Alice Cooper."
Oh,
like-
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. He's like, he pulled me out of school the next day because he's like, we're gonna go and party, and like, yeah, it was pretty amazing. He brought his anaconda out on stage and
Yeah.
had the balloons full of beer with spikes. It was
Right.
amazing.
Nice. So,
it wiped the slate clean.
yeah. So those are our first concerts,
I spent 10
and
years
I'm
in
proud of
America.
you for sharing that with everybody today.
Hey, never forget where you came from.
That's true. Right on. Well, I'm Craig Silliphant for the Feedback Society, and this is Mitch Oliver, and I hope you enjoyed your first concert.